Everest is about to change, again. And the Sherpas say the biggest shift isn't altitude, it's the rules. In 2026, they expect stricter permits, a crowd moving to the colder north, and a shortcut that refuses to die. They're warning about an angrier icefall, tighter cutoffs, and outfitters finally being held to account. Prices climb, patience runs out, and the mountain stops forgiving basic mistakes. 7 predictions, 1 mountain. If they're right, the summit won't just be harder to reach, it'll be harder to deserve. Ready to hear what they think is coming next? Here's what Sherpas are saying. 2026 won't be a free-for-all. Nepal has already moved to raise the bar. Proof of real high-altitude experience, licensed Nepali guides on every rope, and mandatory comms so teams can't disappear off the grid. After years of talk, officials finally tightened requirements in 2025, including prior 7,000-meter experience before your Everest application even gets a look. Operators expect it to be enforced for real this spring, not just printed on a form. Add the permit price jump, now the single biggest, loudest signal that the government wants fewer reckless bids and more accountable teams. And the message is clear. If you're showing up unprepared, you're not getting far. Sherpa leaders also expect stricter checks before anyone steps above base camp. Radios on every climber, GPS tracking logs, and guide credentials that actually mean something. The goal isn't gatekeeping for the sake of it, it's to stop the same avoidable mistakes that keep repeating. People with thin resumes, weak acclimatization, and no communication when things go sideways. Expect outfitters to tighten their screening too, because sloppy clients create paperwork, rescues, and headlines no one wants. Bottom line, 2026 favors climbers who've done the homework. If you can't show experience, a qualified team, and real comms discipline, you'll feel the door close early. But tougher rules don't always thin the line. Sometimes they just move it. Next up, where that line could shift. When the south side tightens, people look for another door. That door is Tibet. Operators are already penciling clients onto the north route. Fewer ladders, fewer seracs, and a style that rewards discipline over drama. It's pricier, it's stricter. But for teams who want order over chaos, that's the point. Sherpas expect leaner rosters on the North Ridge, less bucket list energy, more climbers who've actually put in miles at 6-7K and know how to move when the wind says move. The trade-off? The North doesn't negotiate. Colder camps, harsher gusts, oxygen plans under tighter control. You get structure, but you also get cutthroat weather windows where hesitation can cost the summit. Logistics change too. Fewer outfitters, heavier paperwork, and a culture of prove it before you go higher. That can be good for safety, and brutal for teams that rely on improvisation. Expect cleaner lines during summit pushes, but also fewer second chances if you mistime the jet stream. So yes, the crowd will shift, just not the way you think. The tourists thin out, the serious stick around, and the mountain answers with cold math. And while clients chase order in the north, the Khumbu Icefall on the south is getting moodier by the year. Sherpas say the Khumbu Icefall isn't just dangerous, it's angrier. The towers lean sooner, the ladders need swapping more often, the route drifts like a living thing that doesn't want you there. That changes how teams move. Fixers aim to open the path earlier, then keep it lean, with constant tweaks instead of big resets. Less time standing around, more go now, not later. Expect tighter movement rules from serious operators. Cross before sunrise, no long photo breaks, and zero solo wandering between ladders. Teams will stage load smarter, more weight on one clean pass, fewer back to camp for that one bag, trips. Some outfitters plan to pre-position oxygen and tents higher, so clients don't yo-yo through the maze. The message is simple: minimize your icefall exposure, or the icefall will decide for you. Acclimatization strategies shift too. Fewer classic rotations, more targeted climbs to Camp 2 and above, then rest low, then a decisive push. That reduces the number of crossings while keeping lungs honest. It's not heroic, it's math. Every extra hour in the icefall raises the odds of a nasty surprise. For rope-fixing Sherpas, 2026 looks like more ladder work, more backup anchors, and more real-time reroutes after warm nights. Clients won't see most of that labor, but they'll feel the new pace. Earlier alarms, tighter cutoffs, and fewer second chances to try again tomorrow. And that's exactly why a tempting shortcut keeps creeping back into the conversation. Call it what it is, a cheat code that won't disappear. Helicopters save time and risk for rescues and freight. But when clients use them to skip sections of the approach, or dodge another icefall crossing, the mountain culture takes a hit. Sherpas are split. Some see it as smart logistics in a narrow weather window. Others say it erodes the craft, pulls money from local porters, and teaches the worst lesson: buy comfort, ignore consequences. In 2026, expect tighter oversight. Permits will spell out when a heli is transport and when it's off limits. SAR stays sacred. Medical? Yes. But my legs are tired flights draw scrutiny. Operators know photos of casual heli hops trigger backlash. So you'll hear careful language, operational repositioning, load safety, even when the intent is convenience. The public eye is sharper now, and regulators are finally paying attention. There's also the fairness problem. If one team leapfrogs, others feel forced to follow or lose their shot. That arms race is bad for judgment. Sherpas pushing for restraint argue that disciplined pacing, not flying, is what cuts risk. Cross the icefall fewer times, move earlier, plan smarter. It's the hard way and the right way. Will helis vanish? No. They're part of modern Himalayan logistics. But casual use is set to shrink, and quiet pressure from veteran Sherpas will make it expensive reputationally to treat the sky like a taxi. Which leads to the next friction point. When pressure rises, paperwork gets creative. And that's where 2026 could get very real for anyone playing loose with permits and summit claims. The whispers turned into headaches last seasons. Permits that didn't match routes, trackers switched off at the worst moments, and summit selfies that didn't line up with the weather. Sherpas expect 2026 to slam that door. Think digital checks at multiple points, permit QR scans at base camp, tracker pings above Camp 2, and summit logs matched against radio calls. If your device goes dark without a reason, don't expect a certificate waiting back in Kathmandu. Outfitters feel the heat too. Leaders will be asked to show real guide rosters, oxygen inventories, and radio channels before they touch the ropes. The days of, "we'll sort it out on the hill," are fading. Expect random inspections and paper-to-person audits. Does this name on the permit actually match the climber clipped into the line? If not, that team risks getting turned around fast. Validation gets sharper at the top as well. Sherpas are pushing for cleaner proof, time-stamped shots, GPS traces, and contact with the fixed team around the final slopes. No more vague claims built on blurry photos and disappearing footprints. If you stood on the crown, you'll have the receipts. If you didn't, the mountain and the data will say so. This isn't about gatekeeping for ego. It protects the climb's meaning and the crews who risk the route work. When summits are faked, the pressure on workers rises. When permits are sloppy, the rescue burden lands on the same shoulders. 2026 aims to cut that noise so real successes shine and bad actors feel the chill. And that shift feeds the next one. If standards are rising, protections for the people doing the heavy lifting have to rise too. Sherpas aren't asking for applause. They're asking for basics that should have been standard years ago: proper insurance, oxygen that doesn't run short, and radios that reach when the weather eats the sky. In 2026, those extras become non-negotiable. Operators are moving to fixed guide-to-client ratios, minimum oxygen reserves per person, and real training blocks before anyone touches a fixed line. Fewer overloaded loads, fewer silent channels. More authority for lead Sherpas to stop a push when conditions turn ugly. No arguing, no, but we paid. Expect pay structures to shift too. Bonuses tied to safety compliance, not just summits. Hazard pay for ladder work and night fixes. Clear rest days built into rotation plans so crews don't get wrung out before the real fight near the top. When fatigue drops, judgment rises, and that's what saves lives in the dark. Gear standards tighten across the board. Guided clients show up with certified helmets, warm boots that actually fit, and regulators checked on the ground, not "we'll test at Camp 2." Outfitters that cut corners start losing climbers to stricter teams. Word spreads fast in base camp. If your masks frost up or your radios die, nobody wants your logo on their chest. There's also a cultural shift brewing, clients listening more. Veteran Sherpas report fewer arguments about turnaround times and more acceptance that "not today" is a win. Respect doesn't slow you down. It prevents the kind of mistakes that turn a minor hiccup into a full-blown emergency. These protections don't make Everest easy, they make it honest. When the people fixing ladders and hauling rope are backed by firm rules and real gear, everyone moves cleaner, but honesty has a cost. And in 2026, that bill shows up on the invoice. Next, prices climb, demand doesn't blink, and the market tilts toward experience over hype. Sticker shock is coming, higher permit fees, pricier logistics, and stricter compliance gear all push budgets north. Oxygen plans get fatter, guide ratios get tighter. Insurance moves from recommended to don't even show up without it. Operators pass those costs along because they have to, and because the clients most likely to summit want the margin of safety that costs money. Will that thin the line? Not much. Everest isn't a casual purchase. It's a goal people save for, sometimes for years. What changes is the path they take to get there. More climbers will ladder up with 6-7K training peaks, then a tough 8K, then Everest. That spreads expense across seasons but keeps the dream alive. Expect fewer bargain offers, more transparent itemized packages, and a quiet split between operators who invest in safety and those who cut until the reviews scare clients away. For Sherpas, higher prices mean leverage, better pay, safer schedules, and authority to shut down pushes when the plan frays. Clients paying premium rates listen when the lead says turn. That's good for outcomes and reputation. But the mountain still has the last word. And in 2026, windows look tighter, cutoffs look stricter, and hesitation gets punished fast. Add it up, and the shape of 2026 is clear. Permits get real. The north side pulls a different crowd. The Icefall tolerates fewer delays. Helicopters lose their shine as a shortcut. Paperwork grows teeth. Worker protections stop being optional. Prices rise while demand holds. The rhythm shifts from try until it works to move when it's right or don't move at all. That doesn't make Everest smaller, it makes it sharper. Sherpas expect fewer chaotic pushes, more disciplined timing, and a simple rule running through everything: earn it. If you arrive with experience, listen to your leaders, and respect the cutoffs, you stack the odds. If you show up light on preparation and heavy on ego, the mountain will sort you out fast. So here's the bigger question. If Everest becomes stricter and safer, does the dream change? Or does it finally match the respect the peak has always demanded? The Sherpas aren't asking anyone to stop chasing it. They're asking climbers to meet the moment. In 2026, the mountain won't just test lungs and legs. It'll test judgment. Earn it, or the mountain will sort you out fast. Which of the 7 predictions do you think will change Everest the most, and why?